Hey everyone, my name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. If you guys like making ridiculous amounts of money, click the subscribe button, join our community. It's about investing in the most undervalued assets that we can find in the world. Right now, that's basically commodity based off of ratio valuations. And I can teach you that on this channel if you don't know what ratio valuations are. If you like this content, please give me a thumb up. That helps me out. And leave comments if you want to comment about anything or have questions about this presentation or subject matter that you'd like to see. So someone asked in the comment section, what are some of your biggest mistakes? And they're not specific examples of my mistakes. They're root causes. So I'm going to go through and talk about some of the biggest mistakes I've done investing-wise. So I'm going to start with really not understanding value, market conditions, asset valuations given market conditions, and real estate. Those are were my biggest downfalls. If you don't know what value is, you have no idea where you need to put your money. If you don't know what market conditions are, then you don't know what the asset valuations are going to shift to when the market conditions change. And really, all of this ties into real estate and demographics. I didn't know any of that starting out. So I made plenty of mistakes. All of the mistakes that you guys are either currently making or have made, I'm sure I've made a lot of those mistakes myself. If you don't know these things, you're basically lost. You don't know where you're at value-wise. You don't know when to buy or when to sell. You don't know what the changing market conditions can do to your investments. That's what your asset valuations given market conditions are. And real estate is what sets that revaluation. And if you don't know any of these, you're going to be lost. I was lost and I made a lot of different mistakes investing, not knowing these things right here. Next, what that leads to, not knowing those things, is not really knowing when to buy and sell assets. You don't know the value. You don't know really that real estate is what drives and affects the interest rates. And interest rates affect the valuations. Stocks get priced differently under certain market conditions given inflation. Interest rates chase inflation, and that prices bonds and stocks differently. And I don't think too many people know this. It's very, very important to understand all of this. And this is what I set this channel up so I can teach everyone how to look at these things. What kind of slant you should be looking at when you're looking at charts given certain sectors. And market conditions. By not knowing the market conditions, you're essentially blind. You have no idea what you're doing. You invest in assets which can go nowhere for a long time. You end up buying assets out of cycle. You diversify against your own ignorance. And then what most do is they end up chasing prices. Because you know what? Prices going up is a validation that company is good. Therefore, that company's good. And it's not the case. You have to be ahead of the curve. You have to be ahead of those price gains to really profit. Otherwise, you're taking on enormous risk with very limited upside, given where the market conditions are at. So I put in the work, I decided to put in the work and turn this all around. I studied real estate cycles and demographics. I really learned how to tie asset valuations to interest rates. I looked at leading indicators to signal what is coming before it actually happens. That's your 10-year, that's Dr. Copper. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can look at. And I really tightened up my technical analysis. So after putting in all that work, investing became infinitely easier. You identify market conditions, you invest to those market conditions that it's changing to, you time your entries using technical analysis, and then you sit back and wait. So the conclusion here of the mistakes, all those mistakes, is put in the work now. Learn market conditions, learn value, learn technical analysis, subscribe to this channel to learn all of this. This is the sole purpose of why I started this channel, is to help everyone learn how to become better investors and smarter investors. And I don't want you to repeat the mistakes that I've done in the past. And I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've lost lots of money. I invested at the top of commodity cycles and have ridden some of it down. I didn't get totally blown out, but I had losses, very good losses. I did some short-term trading. I would short stocks. Peabody Energy, well, not Peabody, sorry. It was KFX coal, I think. I think it was called KFX. It was a additive that they put into coal so it would burn better with more energy or more efficient burn. And the entire coal sector dropped out. They just all dropped. And this KFX always would lag it would always lag those coal companies. So they all dropped out like 10, 20%. And this one was just sitting there. So I shorted the living hell out of it. And I made like 10 grand in a day off that one short or whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. So I closed it out. And then the next day it went down like another 15%. I was like, God damn, I could have made way more money. And obviously I got caught on the wrong side of a lot of ones. I tried to block those out. But that was my biggest, I should say, one of my better shorts. That was just a straight up short. That wasn't using derivatives or anything because I didn't know how to do that back then. And I would say another mistake is if you don't know the valuations, if you don't know what to buy when it's cheap, if you're chasing prices, you're going to get slaughtered. And really what you need to do is once you figure out the valuation, a lot of the other stuff kind of falls in place. Because if the valuations are correct, if you understand valuations, what happens is you're going to be timing things. You don't necessarily need to focus on market conditions as much, because most of the time if you're buying in a bunch of undervalued assets, most likely you're going to do okay. If you tie in market conditions, that gets your timing, which means that you can be pinpoint with when you should be buying things. Then if you tie in market conditions and valuations and technical analysis, now it's like shooting fish in a barrel. I'm not saying you're going to win every single time. I'm not going to say that you're going to time every entry perfectly. That's going to be impossible. But it does put the odds in your favor when you start lining all of these things up. That's what this channel does for you. If you like this content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you want to join our community. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.